Hi everybody, and welcome to this, the third in this series of videos all about how to create your spreadsheet for Unit 19. And this video is all about how to create the enrollment worksheet. So if you followed through the first two videos in this series, you should now have a student's worksheet that looks like this and the courses worksheet that looks like this. So we're now going to create the enrollment worksheet. So the first thing you need to do is change the name of the default sheet from sheet 3 to enrollments, and you do that by clicking right-clicking the sheet and rename like so. You'll then need to add column titles in row 1 so that exactly the same as this. So you've got student number, student first name, student surname, student gender, course code, and course name. This sheet is going to take a lot of the information from the first two sheets, students and courses, and bring them together in the enrollment sheet, because an enrollment is basically a combination of a student with a course. So a student has decided to enroll on a particular course, and that will be recorded in this sheet. So the next thing you need to do is, starting in cell A2, create a drop-down list using data validation, as we saw in one of the previous videos, based on all the student IDs from the student worksheet. And that's how you do this. Click on cell A2, go to data, data validation again, and at the moment, of course, the default value for the cell is that you can input any value in there. Change that to list, just like we did previously. Slight difference this time is we're not going to base this list. The drop-down list isn't going to be based on a list in this same sheet. It's going to be based on a series of cells in another sheet. So I'm switching to the students sheet now and highlighting all of these student IDs, student numbers. So that will form the contents of the drop-down list in the enrollment sheet. So click OK. It flicks back to the enrollment sheet, and there you can choose from that list of students there. Now for the next three columns, student first name, student surname, and student gender, we're going to use the VLOOKUP function to automatically display those pieces of data when the student number changes. So starting with student first name, I'm going to use a VLOOKUP function like you did in one of the previous videos, VLOOKUP, and then start to enter values. The first value that the VLOOKUP function asks for is, what do you want to look for? I want to look for the student number, so I'm going to click on there and it puts A2 in. I'm going to look for the student. So the first thing you tell the VLOOKUP function is, what am I going to look for? And it's whatever's in A2. Comma then, the next thing you tell the VLOOKUP function is where you want the function to go looking for that information. So the information, of course, is in the students sheet. So I'm going to switch to the student sheet now. I'm actually going to highlight, you'll see why, I'm going to highlight all of the information right from student number right through to gender. And we're actually going to do that for these next three columns in the enrollment sheet. You'll see why as things go along. Back to the enrollment sheet now. Oh, sorry, no, actually the next thing to do is put the comma in. Otherwise we'll have to do all of that again. So put the comma in up here. So we've told it what to look for and where to look for it. The next thing in the VLOOKUP, formula is how many columns then to go along in the range of cells we've just told it to find the student's first name. And that's the first column, that's the second column. So to find the first name that corresponds to a particular student number, you need to go to the second column. So I'm going to delete whatever's in there after that column that I just put in and put a 2 in there. So you can see how it reads, what to go looking for, where to go looking for it, then how far along, which column in that block of cells to look at. So we'll go looking for whatever's in A2 in the enrollment sheet. But then it'll look for it though, not in the enrollment sheet, but in the student sheet. In cells A2 to H26, it'll go along 2 columns, and the final argument, as they call it, is just, we're going to put false in there, which tells it that when it goes looking for the contents of A2, it looks for an exact match and not an approximate match. just like the other VLOOKUP functions that we've done in the previous videos. Hit enter, and it's found the first name Ryan when it's gone looking for MEN 160, etc. It's found the first name Ryan. So let's check that's right. MEN, there he is. No, where is he now? And oh, it's up there. Look, MEN and Ryan. So back to enrollments. Do the same thing then for. Actually, before I do student surname, I just want to show you what happens if you go down a couple of cells here. So I'll change these to other student numbers. Oh, that's the same one. There we go. So we got 5 different student numbers here. We had that one before. No, that's a new one. And that one as well. So we got 5 different ones there. There is a problem here. You'd think you could just autofill that down, but as you can see, it doesn't work. Now the reason for that is clear. If we look at the formula in B2, that's the one we typed in, so that one's obviously correct. If I use my arrow key now to go down to the next cell down, which is B3, and back to B3, if I go in between these, you can see where the problem is. You need A2, part of this formula, to be changing to A3, and to A4, and to A5, and to A6. But what you don't want is this bit of the formula, the student sheet. Remember, this is to tell the formula where to go looking for the contents of A2. You don't want that to change. You want that to be A2 to H26 every time. But as you can see, it increments down 1 every time. So it starts off at A2 to H26. But then it becomes A3 to H27, which is entirely it's looking in the wrong place then. It's actually looking further down the list for that student number. It works okay for the first couple, but then we get errors after that. It's very easily fixed though. I'll just delete those. All you need to do is use something called absolute cell referencing. This is currently in relative cell referencing, that reference to cells A2 to H26 in the students sheet there. So that as we autofill down, that changes as well. We want to tell it to use absolute cell referencing so that it doesn't change when we autofill down. And the way to do that is to use $signs in front of the A and in front of the 2. Although technically you've only got to put it in front of the 2 because the A isn't changing. But it's a good habit to get into to put it in front of the column letter and the row number. And that's sort of, I always think the dollars are quite a good choice because they look a little bit like hooks, I think. So it anchors the cell to that, and as you autofill down then you get the A2 to H26 there doesn't change, as you can see. The A2 changes to A3, changes to A4, changes to A5. But that doesn't change, so and you can autofill that as far down as you like, really. So we could have another, let's have another couple of names here. Change that to something we haven't had already. Further down. If we then autofill that down, we should just check on this that SCO and a number ending in 65, first name should be Lynn. And there it is there. So that seems to be working fine. Do a similar thing then with student surname, but this time you tell it to go looking for that student number, student ID there, but you go along 3 columns, and for gender you have to go along to column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 columns. So I'll do that now, but you should go away and try that yourself. See if you can work out what the formulas are that goes in C2 and D2. So there I've done that. I've used VLOOKUP there to automatically complete the student surname and the student gender. So see if you can work out the formulas for those. By the way, I'm only going down as far as row 8 here. You should do this down as far as row 22, so you've got a good mix of data there. So the final thing we need to do to complete this enrolment sheet now, the enrolment worksheet, is to create a drop-down list in column F for all of the course names, and then use the VLOOKUP function to automatically complete the course code. Now, creating a drop-down list, we've done that a lot there. We used it in column A here and in previous videos as well. And using the VLOOKUP function to then automatically look for the course code. Again, that's very similar to what you've done over here. So I'm going to leave you to go off and do that now. And when you're finished, the spreadsheet should look like this. So here we have the worksheet finished with my drop-down list of all the courses, and that's in column F, and in column E the VLOOKUP function to automatically change the course code when the course name changes. So for example, if Ryan Mendes changes his option from AAT level 3 to level 4, the course code changes automatically. And that is this video finished. So as always with the videos, have a look over it, rewind, pause, fast forward, whatever, have a go yourself, and this worksheet will then be finished.